Hello, my name's Hannah. I'm a GP trainee based up in Scotland, and I'm also a member of Health Declare's Climate and Ecological Emergency, or Health Declares for short. So yeah, we're a group that started in 2019, and it came out of a few doctors and healthcare workers, nurses, midwives meeting up around the time of the Extinction Rebellion protests in London in 2019. And kind of wanting to keep the momentum going, but from within healthcare settings. We've put together like a guide for people who are trying to lobby their trust or lobby their institution to declare a climate emergency, divest from fossil fuels, and set up an action steering group, which is our three main asks, with a few case studies as well from groups that have already achieved this. So in a nutshell, really sort of boiling that down, it's trying to reach out. It's the first thing. Find other people in your group who think the same thing as you and want to achieve the same thing as you, because it's so much easier once you have a few people on your side and a few buddies to do this stuff with. Not only does it share the workload, because we're all busy, but it also just gives you some of that emotional support as well through what's going to be quite a up and down time. It can take months and years to get a trust to change course, or to get an institution that really cares about its reputation and does things very slowly and laboriously via very many meetings about AGMs about meetings. So trying to do that, you have to be prepared that it's going to take ages and nothing's going to happen overnight. It's about longer term relationships and talking to people, meeting up with them, taking things one step at a time, but just continuing to be that voice for change within whatever sphere you're working in, because it's all we can do. And then beyond that, once you've got a group of people, it's then finding a link within the organisation that you're trying to lobby, like who you're going to be talking to, and you need to have a good working relationship with them so that you can take things forward. So, for example, within a NHS trust or board up in Scotland, there should be a sustainable development action plan or a sustainable development management plan, and there should be a named person who's in charge of that. So that would be your go-to. Some places are better than others and are more sort of further down the line with this and might already have a sustainability officer or a whole team on it. But others might have somebody who's in estates and management who's got that as a bit of a, oh, by the way, this is also your job. And they're likely to be overworked and haven't given it the thought and time that it deserves. Of course, that there can be a bit of, I suppose, a bandwagon, an ecological bandwagon, where everybody just declares a climate emergency. Oh, I've done my job now, I don't need to take things further. So that's what we don't want. We want them to also do that, but divest at the same time if they can. So, for example, if you're a Royal College, then the chances are you've got some endowments, some investments. So that's something that could be divested from fossil fuels. And also then that third crucial point is to take action, set up an environmental steering group, make some plans. And to be fair, the ones that have declared a climate emergency so far, and we've got a list of those on our website, have all got an action plan about what they intend to do next. So it's not just a PR stunt. And I think they themselves were quite keen to make sure it wasn't just seen as a bit of greenwashing. A really excellent document that was put together by people working within at a management level on sustainability. And it's basically a step 2 guide of how to declare a climate emergency if you're a trust or if you're an institution, and what steps you need to put in place, who you need to get in touch with, what areas you need to prioritise. Basically, it's got a roadmap there of how to do it, and it will go through things like really key areas: infrastructure, transport, procurement, energy supplier, like all this kind of stuff, which is, if you're in charge of sustainability at a trust or in a big institution, what things do you need to be looking at when no one's actually given you any kind of guidance on this before. And they've gone down that road, and they've really kind of made a very clear path for others to follow, but they're putting their hand out helping others follow in their footsteps, really, which I think is fantastic. So from Health Declares, I think our biggest success stories has been bringing people together and to see the kind of the work that can be done when you have a core group of people in all of these different organisations persisting and trying to achieve a change. So, for example, Royal College of Psychiatrists declaring a climate emergency, that was a really big win from Psychiatry Declares. Royal College of Physicians had declared, that took a long time from a lot of very dedicated people. Recently, we've had a couple of the trusts that have declared. So I had an email through just a week or two ago from the East London NHS Foundation Trust that they had declared, and that was through, again, work from a dedicated group of healthcare professionals within that, working alongside the management to make that happen. So yeah, there's more and more popping up like that. I think the field of that we're in has changed a lot. I don't know if you found that, but certainly sort of public awareness, perception, the debate around it has just come on leaps and bounds. And I think that, yeah, we found that what we're doing now is really kind of collating so many different groups and trying to put people in touch with other people, like actually trying to inspire people to take action is probably less of a thing now, because there is such a wellspring of desire to want to do this, whether that comes out of a bit of fear of what we're seeing from sort of the increase of natural disasters, flooding in NHS trusts that's happening in London and other places, on our own doorsteps, or stuff around the world that's having a direct impact on health, whether it's sort of from a result of people wanting to take action from that point of view, or whether it's from a point of view of just more, you know, recycling at my trust has always annoyed me and it's always frustrated me and I want to sort it out, just something very small and practical. That the desire is there, and really what we're doing is just trying to put people in touch with other people, piece together people and organisations, and give them the resources that they need to help make a change. I suppose ultimately a mixture of both, isn't it? But from Health Declares' point of view, probably we're more facing towards those organisations I was talking about, so towards our royal colleges, towards our boards and NHS trusts. So trying to engender that kind of change as members of those organisations, as workers within those organisations, trying to push for that change from the inside, which is where we have quite a strong voice, you know, because we're paying our membership fees if it's a Royal College of General Practitioners, which have declared, thank you, or whether it's as healthcare workers within a board or within a trust. So that's kind of where we're focusing. And yes, we probably will, as part of that, reach out to other healthcare professionals within those spheres who hadn't perhaps had climate change or sustainability on their radar. So hopefully we can inspire people that way as well. And then beyond that, the general public, I think that's not really sort of what we're focusing on, but hopefully it will have that ripple effect and people will see that too and think, oh, doctors are serious about this, nurses are serious about this, healthcare professionals are serious about this and are wanting to sort of walk the walk and lead change within the spheres that they can. What can I do in my workplace, business, home, whatever? Yeah, you're relying on people who are doing this in their spare time because they want to be, but it's not a paid job. They have other things going on. So you need to be kind of build that into the model of how you're working and to allow yourself time and cut yourself a bit of slack, really, that you're not going to be hitting a quite a rigid schedule and getting actions achieved every week. Sometimes it is going to be a matter of months, and that's okay, because anything you're doing is better than nothing. I suppose some things that give me hope is things that have already happened. So, for example, some trusts have been really inspiring and shown incredible leadership on this issue 10, 15 years ago. So a great example is Newcastle and Tyne NHS Foundation Trust. They've been led there by a fantastic team, and they've come on leaps and bounds. They've got a net zero pledge that's years ahead of the one that the NHS has set. And so I think something like that, you see, it can be done. It can be made palatable to hospital boards, and great things can be achieved when you have the right leadership and when you have support. So that sort of gives me hope, so those individual case studies. And then I suppose in a broader sense of humanity, things that give me hope is that human beings, I think, generally do want the best for themselves, for their children, for the next generation. So trying to harness that. Yeah, and I think without being too cheesy, like, we have achieved great things in the past, and that's the kind of attitude that we need to take forward. And I think I'm probably motivated partially by hope and partially by fear. So I think trying to tread the line between the two, that, yeah, you don't want to say it was all going to be fine, and that we just need to think positively and everything will be great. Like, we also need to have a sense of what we're trying to avoid and what's driving us from a sense of fear as well, but applying that practically, and that's what will help to stop that fear becoming too overwhelming. COP26 in November is coming around quicker than than anticipated, as ever. So yeah, we're trying to, well, ideally get as many people signed up to our declaration as possible before then, which you can do on our website, and as many healthcare institutions, colleges, trusts, boards to declare as possible. We'd also like to have, I think, probably a physical presence at Glasgow as well. So I'm based in Scotland. There's a few other of us who are going to hope to be at COP26 in some capacity, to sort of show like a visible representation of healthcare workers as part of that. So the World Health Organization this year wanted to make sure that this COP26, like, health was a real priority, and it's one of the like key policy areas I think that they're working on. So there's going to be a whole health program. So having sort of actual healthcare workers from the UK there, I think, would be quite powerful. Not only a great photo opportunity, but also, you know, hopefully a way to engage with the public, handing out leaflets, whatever it is, in a COVID safe and responsible way. But I hope that we'll have a few of us there. Medical students are more powerful than they think. I think I felt the same when I was a medical student, that people do listen to you. And a lot of our core members in our Health Declares team are medical students, and actually they're often some of the most passionate too. Often when we're starting out in our medical careers, it can seem a bit like we don't know what kind of environment we're going to be working in 5, 10, 15 years time. When I started F1, as I came out of medical school into F1, it was when the junior doctor strikes were happening, and I thought, and everyone was talking about the NHS, you know, maybe completely changing model, and I thought, you know, what am I coming into here? And I think the climate and ecological emergency is a kind of an even bigger example of something that could completely change the face of healthcare, both in terms of the healthcare needs and how we deliver it. And at the early stage in our medical careers, or as medical students, we've got to be at the forefront of that, because we're the ones who are going to be changing it. We're the ones who are going to be delivering it. We're the ones who are going to be living through it. So that's what we need to do. So if you agree that the climate and ecological crisis is a health crisis as well, then what you can do is visit our website, healthdeclares.org. And on there, we've got a Pledge Now button. So I think if you go on that, then you can sign like an individual declaration, so coming from yourself. And you can just do that, and that can be it. If you want to, just to leave a kind of a digital mark that you've added a +1 to the box of healthcare workers and students who feel that the climate crisis is a health crisis. If you want to take it further, then there's an option to tick into for us getting in touch with you, and we can help link you up with either students from your area, or if you're a healthcare worker, with people working in your NHS trust or board, or if you're affiliated with a college like Royal College of Nursing or Royal College of Psychiatrists, whatever it is, then we can link you up with others working in that as well. We can spread the word, we can share your successes at a more national level, and collaborate as well, share ideas, resources, as I said, speakers at events, case studies, videos, whatever it is. Like, we've got a way of making sure we're not reinventing the sustainable wheel again and again and again, that we can share these ideas. And that it's not just about polar bears, it's not just about rising sea levels. What does that actually mean for us? What does that mean for our GP practices? What does that mean for our hospitals? What does it mean for how we deliver healthcare? What does it mean for people living in tower blocks in urban heat islands? What does it mean for an elderly population? What does it mean for people with lung conditions, with rising heat and air pollution? So, like, making those connections, making it clear that we care about human health. That's why we're in this job, and that's why we care so passionately about advocating to fight climate change and to make changes there. That this is not separate to what we do, but it's part of what we do.